Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Introspect with me, Sharon Mwangi. If you're new here, karibu sana, feel at home. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. So kama kawaida, we usually start with our first two questions of the day. That is, how have I been and what am I grateful for? How have I been? What? Wait. It's been such... Hey, this week has been a week and a half, to be honest, especially because of everything that has been happening in our country with the whole reject the finance bill, the maandamano, the protests that have been happening. I mean, hey, it's been a lot. And actually, I have really been, should I say, exhausted and fatigued? Not even physically, like emotionally and mentally. I didn't even manage to record and upload a video last Friday. Not because I didn't have time or because I didn't have equipment or what, but because I was so drained. I was like, guys, I was so emotionally drained. I was so mentally drained. I got to realize that somewhat kind of an empath. What that means is that I absorb, or I am really in tune and sensitive to the emotions of people around me and the environment around me. So something that I have come to realize about myself is that if if I wake up happy, probably I wake up and I have the best day. Like, I have woken up, I am so happy, my energies are high and all of that. And I go and surround myself with people who are probably feeling low, people who are feeling a bit, people who are low, people who are sad. I absorb the emotion. It's like I'm a sponge. It's like I'm a sponge for emotions. It doesn't matter how happy I am, but if I surround myself or I'm in an environment where things are a bit sad or people are a bit sad, I also start feeling the same and I absorb people's emotions so quick. And I end up struggling a lot. A lot. I end up really struggling. So that has been me the whole of like last week or the past 2 weeks. So it's been very hard for me to even gather the courage or the strength rather to stand in front of the camera and like film or record something. I've just been a bit low, but in the midst of everything, it's important for us to find something to be grateful for. I can say I'm grateful for the safety of my loved ones, because I think during this period there are very many people who've lost their loved ones, and my condolences to those people who've lost a loved one, whether it's a family member, relative, a friend. My condolences. I'm glad that I am safe and that even those who are my loved ones are safe. So yeah, let's pick up from where we left off. So for the month of June, that was last month, we were looking at something we call cognitive distortions. And basically what cognitive distortions are, we said they are negative thought patterns and belief systems that we have that are very inaccurate, that are based on very little evidence, that they're not just the best way to think. It's like a very negative thought pattern. And we've been looking at some of them. So for, I think, 3 videos we've looked at around 6 of them. So you can go and check them out. And today we're going to look at the last one. Those are not the only cognitive distortions that are there, but we can't go through all of them. So today we're going to look at the last one, which is the fallacy of catastrophic thinking, or what other people call catastrophizing. Yes, a very big word, bombastic word. So catastrophizing or catastrophic thinking is always focusing on the worst possible outcome of a situation. I repeat, always focusing on the worst possible outcome of a situation. Like, you're always looking for the worst case scenario in any situation. And honestly, this is one of those things that, I won't lie, it's something that I'm also still currently learning how to deal with, because I don't know. Let me give an example with something that has just recently happened, or that is I'm recently trying to deal with. So I'm part of a team that is planning something that I have never done. I've never planned something like this before. And to be honest, it's such a big thing that makes me so uncomfortable, because it pushes me out and pushes me out of my comfort zone and stretches me so much, and is causing and forcing me to grow and to be in such uncomfortable situations. And trust me, the first time I heard about this idea, I was like, this is a bad idea. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. And I began to see the worst case scenario. Like, I try to picture how this is not gonna work. This is insane. This is mad, you know? So I have come to realize that, especially when I'm put in spaces and situations where I have to do something that is out of the ordinary, or something that is out of my comfort zone, or something that I have never done before, my first reaction, of course, sometimes I'm excited, but then after the excitement fades, I'm like, guy, tunafanya nini? Tunafanya nini? Yeah, so I end up looking for the worst case scenario and picture everything just going south and everything just backfiring. And I think that is something that is very common in many people. It might not even be with big projects or big things, but even on the smallest and tiniest of things. I've heard of people even who say that they are they feel like they don't want to commit into anything or into any relationship because they can only picture, what if this person cheats on me, what if this person not a good person, what if it doesn't work out, what if, yeah, like there's so many what ifs, and none of them is like what if in a positive way. It's just what if, like, in the worst case possible scenario. And I, for one, do not condemn or judge anyone who's like that, because I'm also like that sometimes. And I think it's because of the fear of things not working out and the fear of failure. And I think that's a very normal thing to feel and a very normal thing to experience if you're a human being, because it's important for you to, like, you really want to know that things are gonna work out 100%. That's why you're so quick to picture like the worst case scenario. So yeah, I think it's something that is common, and I think it's something that we all struggle with. Not all, but it's something that a number of us probably struggle with. And if there's something that I have come to realize, is that there's a way around it. You're not doomed. There's a way around it, and I just want to share a few tips, just like 4 steps on what you can do to deal with catastrophic thinking if you find yourself in this space and in these situations. So the first thing that I have found to be helpful is journaling about your worries and journaling about your concerns. I think anytime now when I face or feel a bit anxious about a situation, or I feel a bit, I'm starting to feel like I'm really catastrophizing. I'm starting to build those negative castles in my head, and picturing the worst case scenarios. I'm learning to journal about them, to write them down. What are my worries? What are my concerns? What are my fears? Why do I feel the way I feel? Why am I thinking this is going to turn out this way? Is it because of a previous bad experience or a previous situation that went wrong? Like, just to write down what I feel. And sometimes writing down really helps you decompress and clear your mind. It kind of gives you direction on why you feel the way you feel, or why you're thinking the way you're thinking. So I think the first thing that you can do is definitely journal about your worries, because I have come to realize that some of these worries that we have, not all of them are invalid. Some of them are very valid. Some of them are actually real concerns. Some of them are not. They are not out of this world. There are things that are very valid, and writing them down helps you to really decompress and conceptualize what is bothering you. Number 2 is write a pros and a cons list. I think when you're in that space and that phase, when you're just looking at the worst case scenario, it's very easy and very quick for you to negate the positive things that are happening, or that everything has an advantage and a disadvantage. But when you're someone who struggles with catastrophizing, you mostly focus on the negatives, you mostly focus on the disadvantages and overlook the positives. So when you make a pros and cons list, sometimes you realize, guys, actually the pros are more than the cons. I'm just the one who is really overthinking this situation. So writing a pros and cons list helps you to understand and also realize that it's not an entirely such a bad idea. It's not such a bad idea. It's actually good. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not the end of the world. There is some good that can actually come out of this situation. Once you've realized that there are some cons, what do you do next after you've realized that probably whatever situation you're assessing has some cons? And that brings me to the third point, to focus on developing solutions. The truth is that there are sometimes you will assess a situation and you'll find a few negative things here and there. You'll find a few loopholes here and there. But those loopholes, once you identify them, it's not for you to just like sit there, be hopeless and feel helpless, but at least try and figure out a solution. If it is finances, for example, then ask yourself, what can I do to make sure that I have good finances, or I have enough finances to fund whatever I want? Or look at the possible solutions that you can come up with to deal even with the cons that you have realized about your situation. But there are some things that you will realize that are beyond your control. There are some things that you'll come to realize that probably you cannot control. There are some cons that you might come to realize that, oh, that is a bit too out of my control. And that is where the final point comes in. Accept uncertainty. Accept that sometimes some things in life will be uncertain. There are some things that are very uncertain. There are some things that we don't plan for. There are some things that happen beyond our control. Let me give an example. Like this, there's an event that we're planning, a nature walk, which I had mentioned about in the previous video, a nature walk event. However, because of the current state of our country and because of how things have been happening, we had to like cancel and postpone the event. And that's not something we had prepared for. That was an uncertainty that we didn't know that was going to happen. So I have come to learn and to understand that the truth is, there are gonna be uncertain moments. We're not gonna know everything all the time. Some things in life, we won't always know the answers. We won't always get it right all the time. However, that does not mean that we should just be comfortable walking in blindness and walking blindly. There's something that I believe it's important for you to be certain about, but sometimes life throws things at us that you are not prepared for, that you are not ready for. And the truth is, sometimes life can be uncertain. So the best thing that we can do is adapt and readjust. So the introspection question for today is, what current situation in my life am I catastrophizing? What is happening in my life currently that I am catastrophizing, or that I am already picturing the worst case scenario? Yes. And what can I do to deal with that particular situation? Yeah, so that is all for today. I'm sorry it's been a bit windy. I hope the sound has not been too bad, but yeah, I just needed to look for somewhere where there's good lighting. But yeah, that is all. And like I mentioned, the Nature Walk event is still on. In as much as it was postponed, it is still on. It is going to be happening on the 13th of July this month. So please make sure you sign up. Very limited slots are available, so please sign up, and I'll share all the details on Instagram, that is at introspect_ke, as well as my personal platform, that is mwangi.sharon, and you can also find more details in Mental Spectrum Kenya on Instagram and on TikTok. Yeah, so with that, please remember to subscribe, to like, to share, and to tell a friend, and please remember, please stay safe even during this very difficult time. Please let us all stay safe. With that, I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.